There's a company with a new invention that can keep your beer cold for up to 24 hours. I believe it is called a refrigerator. It is something different. Happy New Year, guys! It's me, Noah Galudin, and it's time for us to give you another cold beer report. See, it's a report we do about beer, and it actually may or may not be cold. First up, we have a new 64-ounce growler that will keep your beer cold for up to 24 hours. Now, I have no idea what that means because when I drink a big beer, it's cold and then it's empty. So I don't know how long it takes to get warm. It's made by Flask, and it's the world's first vacuum-insulated growler. See, it's got double walls which keep it colder for longer. And I'm also being told that apparently also works for something, I guess it's pronounced water? It's BPA free, which apparently is a big deal these days, but this thing will also keep your hot beverages hot for up to 12 hours. It's kind of like a bigger, better version of those hot cans we talked about before. Speaking of hot cans, I really like saying hot cans. Hot cans. The bad news is this thing is expensive. It costs 50 bucks, which is a lot of money to shell out if you're just gonna drink it really fast anyway, like me. I drink too much. But it does have a lifetime warranty, which means if you end up dipping into that hooker budget using the money on this growler, you can have a little peace of mind knowing that it'll last longer than your orgasm with the hooker, unless, of course, you die from the orgasm, and then it's also a lifetime warranty. In other beer news, USA Today is reporting that people are buying a lot less beer than they used to. In fact, beer sales have dropped by about 4.8 million barrels in the last 5 years. So even though there's more good beer available, people are drinking less beer overall, which means they're probably just drinking a whole lot of Fruit Loop flavored vodka. USA Today published a list of the 9 beers that have had the steepest decline in the US. Now, these reports are not totally up to date with last year yet, but up to now, it looks like Labatt Blue comes in at number 9, dropping 28% from 2007 until 2012. Budweiser came in at number 8 on the list in beers that people are drinking less of than they used to. Actually, Budweiser used to be the top-selling beer in America, but now it's Bud Light, which goes to show you that people are dumb. Behind Bud Light, Coors Light is the second most popular, and Budweiser, which has fallen off a bit, is still ranking in at number 3. Number 7 is Heineken Light, which kind of makes sense because if you're buying cool imported beers, why would you buy a crappy light imported beer? By the way, Heineken Light is not a good beer. Unlike Budweiser, Heineken Light never really sold that well, only had about 0.2% of the market share, which is about as bad as you can get without dipping into those small batch craft beers, which once again reiterates my point that Heineken Light is not a good beer. Moving on to other suck, Milwaukee's Best Light is down about 40% since 2007, but coming in at the number 5 spot is Old Milwaukee, which is down about 57%, which is more. Now, MGD comes in at number 4, and I gotta say, it took people long enough to realize how stupid it is to have a beer called Miller Genuine Draft and then you have it served in bottles or cans. Now, what you should have done is called it Miller Genuine Bottles or Cans, and then, you know, you're welcome, because I just saved your company. Now, Milwaukee continues to be a place, with Milwaukee's Best Premium coming in at number 3. Now see, Old Milwaukee is made by Pabst, while Milwaukee's Best Light and Milwaukee's Best Premium are made by Miller Coors. Which means that Miller Coors has 3 of the top declining beers of our 9 on our list, which means that they are doing the best at sucking. The number 2 and number 1 spots on our list go to Budweiser Select and Michelob Light, respectively. And they're both by Anheuser-Busch, which means that between them and Miller Coors, they're basically like the dominant kings of selling a lot less beer than they did before. Now look, I don't even know what Budweiser Select is, but my producer told me that it's an actually even lighter version of Bud Light. But even worse than that is Michelob Light, which is down 70%. That's a lot of percent. That's like, what is that, like 80%? I think the biggest takeaway from all this is that beers are on the decline for a reason. Bad beers are bad, good beers are better, but whiskey is better than all of them. You should just drink a lot of whiskey. That's what I do, is it seems like I drink a lot of whiskey. I think I drink too much whiskey. Can I have a whiskey? And let me know if there are any beers on this list that you like. Go ahead and make a case for it in the comments section. It won't do you any good because I've already made up my mind and I'm very hard to convince otherwise. That's it for me today, guys. Subscribe to Taste It and find out why whiskey is better than Heineken Light. The secret is in the word light.